All right. So, Malik, thanks for coming on. You're fighting on March 22nd. It's on the OTX card in California. You'll be fighting Jeremy Hill. You'll be headlining. How are you feeling going up to this fight? How's training camp?
Training's been going amazing. I feel good going into this fight. Again, it's another step up, and we looking to knock this guy down too.
Yeah, trying to knock this guy down. You said it's a big step up. Do you believe Jeremy Hill's the toughest opponent you've faced so far?
I don't think he's the toughest or the most skilled. But on paper, he has a good record. He's been in the ring with some good guys, and I just feel like where I'm at in my career right now is just another fight that looks better than my last on paper.
Yeah, you mentioned he's been in the ring with some pretty good guys, and in those fights, he's proved durable. Do you think you'll be able to get him out of there? Do you think it's going to be a little tougher than your past fights?
Absolutely. I think I'll get him out of there. I think, if he uses his footwork a lot more and runs, I'm eventually gonna catch him and stop him.
Yeah, you're fighting on the OTX card, you're headlining a card on the zone. That's a pretty big opportunity. What does it mean to be getting opportunities like this headlining on an overtime boxing card?
It feels good. I just officially signed with them going into the new year. And I'm just ready to show how why everybody's so high on me.
Touching more into the overtime aspect of things, how do you feel that fighting on their cards? They obviously have a crazy social media presence. How do you feel that fighting with them and being promoted by them has helped boost your career and recognition?
Now, I think it's been a big influence in boosting as far as getting me out there to the masses. If you've been inside the boxing world, most high level fighters know who I am. They knew me from the amateurs. They knew me, they know me from being in Vegas and different things of that nature. And I just feel like because Overtime's big presence on with social media, that it's been helped kind of evolve my career and evolve my social media presence as far as people being able to see me on that stage.
How did you first get into contact with overtime? How did you start fighting on those cards? Did they reach out to you, or was it you reached out to them? How did you start getting in contact with them and start fighting on their cards?
Actually, I was signed with a my previous manager and coach, Coach Kenny Porter. They actually reached out to me when I was up under him a while back, but I had other things going on at the time, and we didn't, go that way. And then recently, when well, not recently, but then like last 2 years, when I separated from my previous manager and I got my current manager, Trefon Petrov, we kind of he actually has a fighter that fights under the overtime banner, and they were already in a sense interested in me, and it just kind of fell hand in hand with getting me once I had my first fight on that card. Like we've been the guy's been in love with my fighting ability and everything ever since.
Touching on your fighting ability and your style, it's no secret. I mean, you've got 18 knockouts and those 20 wins. How do you feel that you fight? And if you had to describe your style to somebody who's never seen you before, maybe wants to tune in on this upcoming card, how would you describe your style?
A pressure fighter, all volume fighter, man. I punch, I don't stop punching. I punch to my man disappear. That's my goal. But I'm all action, all excitement fighter.
Obviously, I just said it. You got tons of power. Do you feel like that Patcher's power is more natural, or have you really built that and gained it?
I feel more so that it's kind of built. I've never been a guy, I've never been heavy-handed. I've never been that guy coming up through I got brothers. My brothers that fought have always been that way, but I've never been that way. And it's just over the years, my dad, and different experiences as far as different training and things along that nature. And it's kind of just added to, my punch power and how I am as a fighter overall.
You're starting to move up there in the super featherweight rankings. How do you feel about some of those top fighters at super featherweight?
All of those guys, man, all those guys are good, man. Good technically sound fighters, but they've never been in the ring with me, and I'm ready to get that opportunity to fight one of those guys, man. Just had one recently, the fight that just transpired last night with Lamont Roach and Tank Davis. I want Lamont to come back to 130 so I can try to get that title from him.
Touch more on that fight last night. Obviously, that really shook up the boxing world. Nobody expected a draw to that one. What did you make of that fight, and who do you thought edged it out?
I actually thought Lamont won. And that was just mainly I felt like for every shot that Tank was able to land, Lamont answered him back with 4 or 5 shots, and he wasn't just punching the punch. He was landing a lot of the shots that he was throwing. At times he was the more aggressive fighter. At other times he was the better counter puncher. I just felt overall that Lamont edged that fight out. But this is boxing, and anything can happen.
So you do want that Lamont Roach fight down the line in the future?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. If we could before the year is out, I would love one of those fights. That's if you don't officially move up 35.
Mhm. Touching on Lamont moving up to 35, you're obviously a super feather, but do you ever see yourself maybe moving up the future, chasing titles in other weight classes?
Oh, absolutely. My goal now is to win a title at 30, and depending on what the landscape of the division looks like, depending on how I'm feeling as far as where I'm at in my career, I'll probably try to unify. But if not, I'll get my title at 30 and move right up to 135.
Touching on more of your past and long term goals here, from those early memories of you in a boxing gym, what really got you into boxing? What would you say some of your long term goals are in the sport?
My dad originally got me into boxing. Me and my brother have always been multi-sport athletes. But boxing is just something that just resonated with me from the beginning, and I just kind of stuck with it. I loved everything about it. Once I started competing and traveling on the Georgia team for Golden Gloves and then internationally for the U.S. team, I just fell in love with the sport as a whole. As far as long-term goals, of course, I want to be a multi-division, multi-world champion. But I just want to leave an impact, and when I say leave an impact, not even, boxing related, but know that I did something, inspired the people in my community, the people, the city where I'm from, to do more and want more for themselves. And I'm good with that.
You said you want to inspire people on your way up in the boxing world. Who are some of the guys that inspired you?
Um, I've never been a guy to actually look up to guys, coming up through just coming up, and that's just from me. I never really idolized a
Mhm.
particular individual, but coming up through the game, and Sean Porter, one of the guys that I actually was able to train with and meet, as far as with the things that he dealt with inside outside of the ring, and his fighting style, and not being the typical boxing style that people like. Guys like him, older fighters, Aaron Pryor, Marvelous Marvin Hagler, guys like that, those pressure fighters, volume fighters, that again, it's not the most picture perfect, ideal boxers that people, are constantly, looking at, but those styles are unique, and those styles are all action and the exciting fighters.
You touched on the Lamont Roach fight being what you want down the line. What are some other maybe dream fights that you have down the line that you'd want to guys that you'd want to take on later in your career?
Oshaki Foster is another guy that's at 135 that has the title. He's a great boxer. He has physicality for it. Always in great shape. That's another fight that I would love down the line, and fight him for his title. He's with Top Rank right now, um, and just as Navarrete, I feel like me fighting Navarrete, that would be an all action fight. That's a fan favorite. I feel like that would be a fan favorite fight when it does happen. And that's another fight that I feel like I would win, and I probably would dominate.
Closing up, last thing I got here, just tell the fans who are all watching, who are going to be tuned in on March 22nd, what can they expect?
All action, man. They expect all action, and they can expect the early night.
All right, Malik, that's all the questions I've got for you. Got anything else you'd like to add? Tell the fans.
Not at all, man. You guys follow me on all my social media platforms: Facebook, Maliek Montgomery, and Instagram at Malik_Mayhem95, and TikTok at Maliek Montgomery.
All right, Malik, that's all I've got for you. Thanks for taking the time. Look forward to watching you on March 22nd overtime live on DAZN. And thanks again for the time. Look forward to watching you.
All right, thanks for having me.
Sir.